Hello and welcome to Hello and welcome to the All City Jazz Concert. My name is Chris Wither. I am the middle school director here in Marshall. On stage is the 6th through 8th grade jazz band. We'll be performing two pieces for you this evening. The first one is titled Drama for Your Mama, featuring Sawyer, Carter, and Keston. All right, our second tune for this evening, it would not be a middle school jazz concert without Fatburger. This one is featuring Keston, Bethany, and Sawyer. After this, we'll take a quick change and keep going with the concert.
All right, moving right along. I'm Wes Myers. I'm the orchestra guy, but I also absolutely love jazz. So I'm really happy to have a jazz band. We meet on Thursdays, primarily 9th and 10th graders, but really we've got a nice mixture of students who are interested, which makes me very happy. So we're going to play 3 tunes for you. The first tune is called Maynard and Waynard. It's a tribute to Maynard Ferguson and Wayne Bergeron. There's one solo in it. It's Foster Moore. All right, our next tune is an old classic by Errol Garner, a really nice arrangement by Terry White. This is called Misty, and there are two solos in this, one by Ian Beyer and one by Ethan Shucker. All right, we've got one more tune for you, and then we'll move right along to the next group. This last one is kind of a Latin rock tune. It's one we really like to play. We like all of them, but this one's really fun. It has 3 solos in it: Liam Beyer, Ian Beyer, Ethan Schuckhart, and it's called Dance Biggin' Dance.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for letting us come out and join you tonight. This is most of the members of the SMSU Jazz Ensemble. Unfortunately, we're missing several people tonight because they're involved with the theater production that is having a dress rehearsal as we speak. And so, if you want to hear more music from SMSU, you have to go to that musical. It opens on Thursday, I believe, and there are several showings, and actually features a number of Marshall graduates in that show. So come on out and hear it. We're going to play just a couple pieces for you. The first one was one by Mike Tomorrow called Be Cool, and we're going to finish our portion of tonight with another one called Schizoid Stomp.
My name is Laura Peterson. I am the choir director here at the high school, and I get to be cool enough to be included in the All-City Jazz. That's kind of fun. So this is Roaring Twenties, and we are mostly a pop choir until tonight, and then we try and break out a little jazzy stuff. We are going to do a couple of tunes, and then we're going to do a couple of tunes with the jazz band. We're going to sing, not jazz, but we're going to sing a tune from The Greatest Showman called A Million Dreams. Solo is Gabe Luagi, Summer Moline, Edaki, right? There's 3 for tonight, right? And then we're gonna go into, I won't talk again, but we'll go into a tune that we mostly know, but I'm really excited about. It's a Bob Dylan tune, The Times They Are Changin', except it's completely revised as far as the arrangement, and I love the arrangement a lot. And so since we were mostly ready to go with it, I said let's be brave and do it. And then solos on that are going to be Alex Buss and Ethan Schuckert. Did I get everybody? Okay, good. I'm going to get out of the way.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me that I call my own. Through the dark, through the nights and before, but it feels like home. When it's raining, it's raining, all sounds crazy.
This is not my group. This is still Laura's group. I'm stretching right now though, because we're getting some drumsticks. Is he back? There he is. So when you're married to the choir director, she just tells you to do stuff. And so she asked me if I would put together some jazz band people to play along with the Roaring Twenties, and so that's what we're doing. On two really fun arrangements. I don't know who arranged it, but this is a mashup of Steppin' Out With My Baby and Puttin' On The Ritz, so I hope you enjoy this. You get to see me make my Wiro debut today, so it's gonna be fun. This next song is awesome because it's by this Mexican guitar wizard by the name of Carlos Santana, and this is a classic rock tune called Oye Como Va. Thank you so much again for coming out. This is the Tuesday Jazz Band. We rehearse Tuesday mornings. It's quite a pleasure and quite a privilege, actually, to work with students that are willing to get up and drive to school really early, once a week, to do this. It's outside of there, it's not required. They love to do it, and I love spending time with them. It's some of the best time of the week for me. So I'm really excited to have them play for you. I'm sure I speak for all of the groups, because we just kind of, these students that really love to do this, and they volunteer to do this, and that's pretty special. We need to hang out with people that love to do those kind of things. We're gonna play 3 songs for you today. This first one is by Dave Mills. It is a swing chart called Good Clean Blues. It'll feature Jonah Vorvak on trombone, Dylan Larson on alto saxophone, Scott Griebel on tenor saxophone, and Karsten Sprigborg on the guitar. This is Good Clean Blues. This next song is called Sweet Magnolias. It is written by the saxophone player for the Dave Matthews Band. His name is Jeff Coffin, and he will be portrayed tonight by Scott Griebel on the tenor saxophone. It's going to feature him a lot, so it's going to be kind of swampy, hot, sweaty music. It's going to give you the kind of feeling of being out of the bayou. I hope you enjoy Sweet Magnolias. right, this is our last song, and thank you again so much for coming out and supporting jazz. It's such a great American art form. I do want to thank my wife Laura for playing piano tonight, filling in for us. That's great. I really appreciate that. Our last song is going to be a Latin number called Aventuras. It's going to feature Carson Springborg on trumpet, Ryan Botsford on trombone baritone. Maybe playing baritone? He's playing the baritone tonight. And Scott Griebel again on tenor sax, and then Carson's going to finish us off on guitar. One of the great things about jazz is it makes you take risks if you want to. And so all these students that are standing up and playing a solo for you tonight have no written solos. These are all stuff that they kind of make up out of their head as they play. I think they practice it a little bit, but it's not written down. They have to make that all up. And so it's just an extra, I love it when I see kids taking risks like that. So hopefully you've enjoyed all those solos. This is our final tune called Aventuras.